share both words from President Obama and some abbreviated words from Dr. Martin Luther King. But the words from President Obama stated, as it relates to the question of immigration reform, that our journey is not complete until we find a better way to welcome the striving, hopeful immigrants who still see America as a land of opportunity, until bright young students and engineers are enlisted in our workforce rather than expelled from our country. And I think the important part of this discussion tonight is to make sure that the landscape of immigration reform is a landscape of many faces, many heritage, many backgrounds, many regions in the United States, many continents, and that it is important for us to have a commitment to better opportunity for all. But as we do that, I think education is crucial. For as this discussion goes forward, I want my friends to know that there will be moments of great contention. There will be moments of disagreement, and there will be moments of misrepresentation. It is important for the broad diaspora to understand that we are in this leaking boat together, and that when we utilize the term of civil rights, or we use Rosa Parks, or we speak to the words that Dr. King said on April 3rd, 1968, that said that he could see a promised land and that he might not get there with us, but he knew that we as a people would get there someday. I cannot imagine in the 50th year of his I Have a Dream speech that he could not foresee that America's diversity would be its strength, and that African Americans who came first to this country as slaves could then join with others who came in fishing boats, in airplanes, that walked across the border for greater opportunity and make America the dream, the great nation, the promised land of which he predicted. And that is what immigration reform is. It is not to take from someone else and to give to someone else. It is not to diminish the civil rights struggle of the African American population. It is not to ignore the history of others, but it is to say that we have a common ground. And that is the way we're going to pass immigration reform. If you are a Southerner and a Republican from the South, you have as much invested in an America that gives opportunity to all as you may be from the wonderful districts that are represented on this floor. And until we understand that in the House, till the Speaker understands and accepts it, that this is not taking away, this is not undermining anyone's view of America. It is to say that the view of America is the promised land that so many come for. It is a recognition that Americans have come through the 1800s, when the Irish came because of the famine. The Italians came in the early 1900s. Other groups have come since then. Large numbers of Hispanics, Asian Americans, South Asian Americans, those who have come from the Asian Pacific area, those who have come from Pakistan and India and Bangladesh, those who have come from the Caribbean, those who have come from Africa. They've all come, and we have to recognize that. One of the issues that seems to be coming up over and over again as we look at this issue, and I will speak specifically to the Senate's proposal, the General Path to Citizenship. It talks about the 11 million undocumented individuals. The path to citizenship will only take place if the border is secure and visa overstays are effectively combated. Let me be very clear that great progress has been made over the Clinton administration, moving into the Bush administration, George Bush, and then on to the Obama administration, particularly in the Obama administration, because you can begin to see any suggestion that we have not worked to secure the border is based upon lack of information and lack of facts. And so I want to thank my colleagues for a poster that in fact says that the number of Border Patrol agents has more than doubled in the past 10 years. When I first began writing legislation in 2004, 2003, 2005, we were shortchanged on border security agents. Working with the Senate, working with presidents, we funded the increase of border security of Border Patrol agents, and we can see now that the majority of agents are assigned to the U.S.-Mexican border, more than 16,000 and more, and it's growing, that are basically at the border now. I think we can do more, if you will, for the northern border, and I look forward to working with my chairperson of the subcommittee on that issue. But we cannot let the discussion to get bogged down in talking about we can't provide some access to citizenship In my legislation, I called it earned access to citizenship, which means there were fines to be paid, charitable issues to be paid, you must be vetted. But here on the Senate proposal, it talks about securing the border. I want to be able to be responsive to their concerns, but they should also look at the facts. And they can see that between ICE and CBP, ICE is the internal enforcement, CBP, you can see the increase in amounts of money that have gone up in the billions of dollars, now close to $18 billion between ICE and CBP, CBP being a little bit under $12 billion, that we have truly under the Obama administration, been serious about border security. In fact, there is a poster board here that suggests that the deportations have gone up. That's not the right way to proceed. And so my point today is that there must be common ground. In the Senate, they talk about young undocumented immigrants who were brought to the U.S. when they were children will have a more direct path to citizenship. That must be clear, because those are the DREAM Act kids. And in fact, those individuals are the talent that we are throwing away. Young people who are in college, who are contributing to society, who can help bring their families, reunite their families, have been forced to deportation. And I want to congratulate the President for his executive order that provided a deferred adjudication for DREAM Act youngsters as a basis of saying that the ICE should enforce deportation on those who are a threat to our community and prioritize those distinctive from those who are here, who are not willing to, not doing us any harm, who are being educated. So the Senate proposal talks about young people. It talks about the backlog of legal immigration and family reunification and employment visa process. It also allows more immigrant performing lower skilled options to enter the country when we are created. I want to change that word. I don't like the idea of lower skilled. People come to work if they are skilled, they have something to contribute. That is the basis upon which we should look at it. But I think for the Congressional Black Caucus, it is always important to say, because our communities suffer unemployment in many parts of the country more so than others, that it is important in any immigration reform that we ensure that the employer has looked very hard for a person who is eligible for that job here in the United States. That's how we educate our population, and that's how we bring together the right kind of collaboration. High-skilled immigrants should be all of us. High-skilled individuals should be those in the historically black colleges, Hispanic-serving colleges. We should encourage them to be part of science, technology, engineering, math. However, when there is an immigrant that is graduating from our top universities or any of our universities, we should not ask them to leave. It is very important to do so. And we should ensure that they have opportunities. The President's general path to citizenship provides a pathway to citizenship. These immigrants can register for provisional legal status. And his point is, which I believe we should join in, that we should not let border security get in the way of making sure that we move forward on a legal status process. Young people who brought here as children should have an expedited path to citizenship by attending college or serving 2 years in the military. Slight differences that we can find a common ground. Legal immigrants, he speaks to, the plan would increase the percentage of family-sponsored immigrants who can enter the country over every 7 years from 7 to 15%. This goes to a complaint that you will hear from those in Nevada, those in New York, those in your very diverse district. They complain about family, not complain, let me say differently. They want to be reunited with their family members. One of the most stark things that happens to any of us who visit with immigrants in our congressional office, what about the immigrant who wants to go home for a dying relative? Or the relative wants to come because there is a dying relative here in the United States. I had that happen in my district. I had a South Korean student who was shot on the streets of Houston, and tragically he became paralyzed. And when his father came here to be able to comfort him, his father had been here, he went back out, he was held and detained. We finally got that resolved, but we must find a way to have this punishment, this pain that so many of our immigrants are experiencing. We must find a way to be able to work on this in a productive and smart manner. This speaks to the fact that we have not been slouches. We have not